In this experiment, the population connectivity of bats was observed in the Bahamian Islands off the coast of Florida. Due to the webbed forearms of bats, they have developed wings. This allows them to be the only mammal capable of sustained, true flight. This feature of flight distinguishes bats' migrations from other mammals because they have the ability to cross ocean channels. Researchers in this study focused in on a Brazilian free-tailed bat called Tadardia brasiliensis. This species proved the presence of genetic drift in the Bahamas. Genetic drift being the change in a type of genes in a population because of the random reproduction.
To see if genetic drift had occurred in this region, these bats were sampled from the northern area and southern area. Figure 1 shows where wing tissue of T. brasiliensis bats were collected by removing small circles of skin using a biopsy punch, leaving the bats unharmed. They were taken from 89 individuals. In addition, 80 individuals' tissues were loaned from the Florida Museum of Natural History, and in total for the study, 139 individuals were examined genetically, and 65 individuals were examined morphologically. In the Bahamas, T. brasiliensis is common, so bats sampled in the study were collected from caves and abandoned buildings. For each individual captured, they recorded the sex, reproductive status, body mass, forearm length, hind foot length, and ear length.
The differences between the bats on the northern and southern islands are probably due to the lack of gene flow. No gene flow between the species means no sharing of genes, which causes species to diverge. But because there's evidence that they shared a common ancestor, the species had to have diverged at one point, to a point where the species don't cross the channel separating the two islands. This species divergence could have been caused by the founder's effect. The species inhabited the northern island due to the island biogeography theory, because it is closer to the mainland. From there, a small population migrated to the southern island, causing a founder's effect. Because of the new habitat, the species quickly evolved, causing a prezygotic barrier between the two species. This is an example of a prezygotic barrier because mating between the two species is prevented. Since they're different species, they stay on opposite sides of the channel. This type of barrier is an example of habitat isolation, where species live in the same area but in different habitats.
Results from this study show that bat populations in the northern Bahama Islands are more similar to North American species based on morphology, tissue sampling, DNA sequencing, and microsatellite data. Researchers believe that the southern islands might contain a closely related species of the same genus Tadardia. This would explain low migration across the channel and high population differentiation, as opposed to more even dispersal of the Brazilian free-tailed bat as researchers previously thought, due to their long, narrow-tipped wingspan equipped for long-distance flights. The question of the dispersal of Brazilian free-tailed bats was pursued in the first place because bats represent high mobility in terms of mammals and therefore present good models for studying the movement of mammals between fragmented habitats. Studying species movement is important because movement between habitats is a key method for the evolution of animal life.
Created using Powtoon.